All right, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I think we will get started now. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Can everyone hear me? If you wanted to, hopefully, inshallah, you can. All right, so welcome to Sound Vision's Islaminar Fundraising Dilemma During Social Isolation. Sound Vision has been bringing leading quality content for almost 3 decades to North American Muslims and has now become a pioneer in the professional development trainings. In these uncertain times, when we are housebound, we cannot stop learning nor moving forward, and Sound Vision's team has been working long hours to adapt all our trainings to an online portal. I am Nargis Naqvi, your moderator for this training and the training director with Sound Vision. Before I introduce our trainer, I would like to point out a few housekeeping rules so we can have a streamlined experience, inshallah. At all times during the webinar, please keep yourselves on mute so we can have an uninterrupted session. You can use the chat box that will pop up on your right-hand side if you press the chat button on the bottom of your screen. I will take all your questions and we can get them answered at the end, inshallah. I do have an outstanding offer for everyone on this webinar today, so please stay till the end to hear the offer. If time permits, we may have you unmute yourself to ask your questions at the end, inshallah, as well, okay? Now, I'd like to introduce our trainer, who is absolutely fabulous in not only being a professional in his field of fundraising consultancy, but understands the Muslim dilemma very well. Imam Irshad Osman is a khatib in the GTA's various mosques. With several degrees from around the world to his name, he's also a professional fundraising consultant and has worked at various places such as Women's College Hospital Foundation, IDRF, Humber College, Silent Voices Canada, and United Way Toronto, overseeing fundraising portfolios of millions of dollars. He is the principal consultant with Zimmer Fundraising Consultancy. Without further ado, I'd like to ask Imam Irshad to start his presentation, please.
Can you hear me, sister?
I can.
Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وعنده مفاتيح الغيب لا يعلمها إلا هو ويعلم ما في البر والبحر وما تسقط من ورقة لا يعلمها ولا حبة في ظلمات الأرض ولا رطب ولا يابس إلا في كتاب مبين صدق الله العظيم. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, thank you so much for joining. While you are at home, it's a challenging time. So during this time, we are going to talk about the fundraising dilemma. Because as you know that many massages have been closed, many faith places of worship have been closed. So during which time, many of our massages are mostly relying on the fund donations received from the congregations, either it is on Friday or Ramadan. Now, the biggest fear is that Ramadan. As you know that Ramadan is next month, and some of the massages which I personally know, they raise everything for their entire annual revenue in Ramadan in one night or 2 nights. So failing that, they will not be able to sustain themselves for the year for the next 11 months. So this is a big challenge we see. At the same time, ever since COVID-19 lockdown and the social isolation started, we also hear many massages have laid down their imams and staffs. This is also a big concern for the community because many imams are much needed at this time to give spiritual direction and support to the community. And so this is, it all depends on, as you can see, everything comes down to how the organization or the mosque can sustain itself. So today in this webinar, we are going to talk about what are some of the things they can do. What is the dilemma we face? Do we think that is it appropriate for us to, at this point, going and asking money from people? Or when the massages are closed, what are the other strategies we can do or we can use to reach out to the community and people who have been supporting us? Or else, can we do something else? Can we do something which we haven't done before? So these are the questions we are going to explore. It's going to be a very high level overview, but inshallah, I'll be happy to answer all your questions in the end. So inshallah, I'm going to share the presentation which I have prepared now. And if you cannot see, please say in the chat box. Otherwise, inshallah, we'll move forward. Can everybody see? Can you just quickly tell me that if you cannot see the presentation, let me know.
Yes, it's visible.
It's visible. Perfect. Okay. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, as I said that inshallah we are going to talk about fundraising dilemma during social isolation. So I would first start off with a poll which Sister Nargis is going to activate. I would like to ask from you about what you think, what is in the top of your mind now. So it is multiple choice. You can select whichever you like, and then we will share the results soon. We'll give one more minute, and then Sister Nargis can share the results. Sister Nargis?
Yes?
Yeah, can you share the results? Have you received anything?
You see it?
And yes, schools are closed. Kids make me crazy. 4%. And offices are closed. Work from home is not for me. 8%. And then theaters are closed. Netflix doesn't have any new movies. 0%. Mashallah, that's good. Malls are closed. Wow. Shopping, no shopping. That's really good. And mosques are closed. Feels strange to pray at home on Fridays. 33%. And then mosques are closed. How can we maintain it in the coming months? 38%. Equally, Ramadan is next month. Will the mosque be open to fundraise? 38%. And then everyone is struggling. Will people still donate to a mosque or charity? 83%. That is the staggering number. And the other concerns, some people have said about 21 concerns. So I don't think we have time to go through all your concerns, but inshallah, there are more fundraising workshops that are coming, during which time we are going to make it very interactive and then talk to you about some of the other concerns and how we can find solutions collectively by learning from each other and then sharing our knowledge with you. Okay, great. Jazakallah khairan for everybody participating. And then inshallah, we are going to go through the slides. So as I said earlier, all what you hear in the last few weeks is doom and gloom news. It's all negative news and what is going to happen. And we get a daily dosage of fear, anxiety, uncertainty, etc., etc. That could be coming from our WhatsApp or Facebook or phone calls. And wherever you see, it is like suddenly we are in a lockdown. Although it's not officially lockdown, we feel that we cannot do what we are used to do. We cannot think what we used to do, the way we used to think, and we don't have, as if that we lost the freedom all of a sudden. So I am not going to add more than what you already have in a dosage of fear and anxiety and uncertainty, but I really have to share something else. I'm going to add another layer to that uncertainty you have before giving some positive news. The purpose of this presentation is all about positive news. What are the things we can depend on, rely on to continue the work, the great work we are doing, to the masjid, to the charities we are supporting, we are working for, etc., etc. So let me add that uncertainty. This is a negative news, but just watch because this is connected to the presentation I'm going to do. On March 26, 3 days ago, Atlantic published an article titled "The 4 Possible Timelines for the Life Returning to Normal." Although this is mostly based on US, it applies to many countries now, even Canada. It says that there are 4 summary. I mean, you can read that article. I have given the link underneath. The first one is that the effects of coronavirus outbreak may last for a year or 2, although some elements of our life, pre-pandemic life, will be won back in the meantime. Remember, 1 year or 2. And when will it end? It will end when population level immunity is achieved either through vaccine. That means they will develop a vaccine. Of course, we know that the antidote has been given to people, or Teflon. Teflon is a word used in the medical. If there are doctors, you know that. That means 65% of the people who they are predicting to contract this disease, they recover and then becoming immune, so that they will not pass on to another people. Right? That is, either of these two has to happen for that the coronavirus to end. And then projecting when each element of daily life will be restored would be hard, because even the doctors don't know whether who is infected, who will become immune, whether they can get contracted again. Still no data exists. So this is real uncertainty. Even if you know that somebody got coronavirus and they were cured, and there's no certainty, there are no studies done whether they are going to get it again or not, right? And then the fourth one is important. It says that self-isolation is a blunt tactic which can slow the spread of the virus and spare the hospitals from a catastrophic overload of patients, but that comes at the cost of freezing daily life. That we all feel that. Right now we feel that we are not sick. Alhamdulillah, we are not sick. Allah has given us health, but still our life has frozen. We cannot go to work. We cannot operate in our charities. We can't go to the mosque. We can, even if we want to donate, it's really hard to have that conversation, understand what the needs are. So there are many things are happening, which is freezing the daily life. So now you may be wondering, what is the positive about this news? It is the new normalcy. New normalcy in the sense that we need to embrace in the post-COVID-19 world. That means, dear brothers and sisters, do not think that this is just a temporary phase we are going to face, we are going to pass through, and then everything will go back to normal again. It is a wrong conception. The reason is right now, in the last 3 or 4 weeks, things have changed dramatically. Things have changed the way we do business. Things have changed the way we talk to other people, the way we operate. Even now, we wanted to have an in-person workshop, but we had to change it. Sound Vision is leading that effort, and to have it in webinar and Zoom. And all these things have changed. So it has become a new normalcy. So if we expect everything will go back to where it was, we are wrong. So we have to think that there's a new normalcy is waiting for us in the post-COVID-19 world. What is it and how we are going to adapt it? This is the biggest challenge we have in front of us. Now we have to think so that we will be prepared for what is going to come next after COVID-19. And although that sounds like a negative news, and this is a great book which I have read, Paradise Built in Hell by Rebecca Solnit. She studied about 5 disasters in the 20th century. The San Francisco earthquake and the Halifax ship explosion, Mexico earthquake, terrorist attacks of 9/11, and Hurricane Katrina. In the end, in that book, she says that she wanted to understand how people respond to these sudden large-scale calamities. And the book is interesting in the sense that it challenges that what we think of catastrophes, starting with the idea that it brings the worst of people. We saw that when the fights were happening in the source for the toilet paper. We thought, people have lost it. People have suddenly become very selfish, and they're not thinking about us. But in fact, this author argues that she says that the crisis actually unearthed the extraordinary good and the extraordinary civility in people. And she gives data and anecdotes from all these 5 disasters after what happened, the aftermath of these 5 disasters. And it also shows the human resiliency and the drive not for individual survival, but for the meaningful community. SubhanAllah, we see that right now in Canada, in the Muslim community, the Canadian Muslim Response Network. And if you think of all the volunteer network to support people who are vulnerable, who are disabled, who cannot go out and do some shopping. And many things have come, all these initiatives are coming because of what? Because we are in a crisis, but still we see the incredible amount of goodness coming out of these things. And also, it also says that she also has an interesting concept called elite panic. That means she uses the term to refer to a fear of the general public possessed by those with influence and authority. Central to that notion is that possibility, they think the people in power and authority think that general public will panic. They will go loot. But in fact, it's not necessarily true. It is not fact. So in this book, it's an amazing book, she was talking about all these examples. So it gives a positive outlook on what we have to expect. So what we have to expect is that we have to change the way we used to do things. There should be a major shift in the way we did things in the past. Because, dear brothers and sisters, what's going to happen is that the new realities would warrant doing new things. Already we see new realities. Already we are seeing a lot of new realities and new challenges coming in. So that the new challenge will push us toward new territories. Who knows? Maybe we may not be thinking only about fundraising in the Muslim community. We may be thinking about going out and talking to other people. And then also new mediums will govern our approaches. New mediums in the sense that we are using a virtual. We are going virtual, online, and Zoom, etc., etc. We thought, you know what is interesting? The new medium in the sense that very interesting point is what, even the mediums right now we are using, we wanted to have a full day workshop, to tell you the truth. Then we thought, you know what, people don't have the attention span to stay for full day online. But look at children. When they play games, right, they are the ones who doesn't have attention span, shorter attention span. But still, when they play games, they are hooked onto that. So how come all people who are developing games and the online versions of every single thing, the phones and apps and all, is very attractive. It keeps people glued to that. So probably this is the new reality. Now, coming out of this, we will be adapting to do all things in a way which is going to attract new donors, in a way which is going to attract our staff, internal stakeholders, external stakeholders, etc. So keep this in mind. So now we are not going to go into the same where we were before. We are going to go into a new reality. Unless we adapt, we will fail. The reason is many organizations have already started adapting to that. So they are already in the forefront. They are running ahead of us. So if we don't do that, we are going to lose. Because when coming out of COVID-19, they would have gone at least 500 or 600 steps farther than us. Okay. And then I also want to mention this one. I know that many people calls me and then ask that, okay, we cannot open the mosque. What can we do now to raise money? So these are quick fixes. We can bring quick fixes. I can give hundreds of quick fixes for you to do now, but it is not going to bring lasting solutions. Why? Because after COVID-19, the needs will be the same, but under new circumstances. The needs are not going to go away. After this period, the needs will be there, but we will be in a different circumstances. So how we are going to use that, how we are going to adapt to that, how we are going to respond to that will be determinant of how we are adaptable to new solutions. So think about that. Quick fixes right now, sending a message in a rush, oh, my masjid is closed, I need some money, and then people donating, it's not going to provide lasting solutions. I guess all of you are here now to think about what is that sustainable solution I can think. If something happens like this in the future, how I can weather that storm, how I can be prepared, what I can do. This is what we have to think about. And also, as a Muslim community in Canada, we have, alhamdulillah, built an ecosystem. We have the social support, we have the psychological support, we have spiritual support through our mosque. These are our ecosystem we have built, the Muslim community. Now we have to preserve that. To preserve that, we have to adapt and find how we are going to preserve our ecosystem through new mediums. That could be online, that could be something else. We have to think creatively and innovatively to come up with solutions to that. Okay, now let me give some positive data. Why I say positive is that the data shows, alhamdulillah, the philanthropy hasn't died. It has not died. And even in difficult situations, people have rose up to the occasion. For an example, Statistics of Canada survey on charitable giving by Canadians. I showed this slide in my first in-person presentation in February. If you participated, you would have remember that I mentioned this one. In that survey, they found that immigrants contributed on average $554 versus $409 by the Canadian-born immigrants who are in this country for less than 10 years. And immigrants with annual household income of less than 40,000 gave more compared to their Canadian-born counterparts, $404 versus $214. Now, these are, in the fundraising world, we call them as mid-level donors. Now, these mid-level donors who earn less than $40,000 have given $404 in donations. And then religiosity. Religiously active immigrants gave more than the Canadian-born. They also, percentage-wise, they gave, higher number of them gave, plus their average giving also high. 89% of immigrants who attended religious services were charitable donors compared with immigrants who never attended religious services. They also donated a higher average. That amount, that number is really big. $1,004 compared to $313 by people who did not go to churches or mosques or synagogues. That's amazing. That shows, alhamdulillah, this is very positive news. So when you look at your donors, when you look at the people around you, when you look at the people who are coming to the mosque and who are coming to the Friday prayers or Eid prayers or Ramadan, these are the donor base we have. These are the donor base we have. And you can still depend on them. They are, alhamdulillah, generous. And because the financial situation, although they were earning less than $40,000, did not deter them from being philanthropic, from being supporting the other organizations and being compassionate towards the need of others. And then another positive news through data. According to ISP's research on American Muslim philanthropy, that's an amazing book, research book written by ISPU, done by, Sister Dalia Mujahid is leading that effort. And they found that 89% of Muslims gave to a house of worship, because that house of worship, and definitely it is within the Muslim community, within the faith community. But other than that, giving other than to the faith mosque and where else they gave, when they gave to the domestic poverty in US, they gave 80%, 81% of them gave to charities which are operated by people other than Muslims. Because in that case, they were equal opportunity givers. They did not want to keep their money to solve a problem only within the Muslim community. So rather, they wanted to give to people, charities operating in the other space, in the open space. And they wanted to make sure that they know their accountability, they are transparent. They wanted to make sure whatever they give will have a greater impact. So that is amazing. And then also Muslims gave for education and overseas relief. For overseas relief, obviously they have given, again, overseas relief too, like all this Care Canada, all these organizations who are operating based on US, you see 58% of them, 58% of 58% of donors gave to those charities compared to only 54 to charities operated by Muslims. So you can look at this data. This again shows that Muslims are, alhamdulillah, generous and philanthropic, and they not only give to the mosque, they give to other charities too. So I'm sure that many of you who are participating today are not necessarily representing mosques. You are coming from philanthropic organization. Sorry, you are coming from charities. You are coming from non-profit organizations. So remember, Muslims are generous. They have been giving regardless of their social, economic circumstances. And then this is another one. If you look at the fundraising data, which event or which channel of fundraising raises more revenue? Number one, obviously, there's nothing can beat the face-to-face ask. Directly, you're asking from people to give. You're directly connecting with them. They understand where you're coming from. Either they know you or they trust you. So that face-to-face is the number one revenue generation in fundraising channels. Number two is phone solicitation. You call people and talk to them. Third one is personalized letter. You address to the donor, indicating what kind of connection they have to your organization. And then the fourth one is impersonal letter or direct mail or internet. You send just an ask, just an appeal, and people will donate. Interestingly, the reason why I made the number 5 special events and galas in red color is that you see, in terms of revenue generation, it's in the 5th stage of the ladder, not on top. But unfortunately, many of our organizations, Muslim organizations, are heavily relying on galas, heavily relying on this mass scale fundraising. Now, you see, when there's a challenge like this, they are scrambling to find out what exactly we can do now. We cannot have this gala. We can't have. So instead, had we, they put all the eggs in one basket, to tell you, put it in a simple way. But if you diversify, if you think that there are 4 areas of fundraising which is going to generate higher revenue, and focus on that, we will not be struggling, will not be thinking, oh, there's no way out. There are way out. So in a way, that's a positive news. Canceling one special event, canceling one gala is not the end of the world. There are many ways you can still fundraise from the Muslim community as well as others. Now, when it comes to the massages, I understand, because then it comes to the number 1. Because in massages, most of the time, all the fundraising is done through directly from the congregation, face to face. There's no question about it. So there is a direct element, a personal element is happening in fundraising. The problem is with the massages, which from my experience, that we don't necessarily steward the donors or follow up with the donors. And at any given time, a speaker will come and they raise the money. And then after that, we don't necessarily connect with the donor until next Ramadan or next Laylatul Qadr or next Friday comes, or whatever the special event comes to raise funds. The problem is, in any fundraising data, they say that whether it's a Muslim community or other communities, the retention is that a donor giving back to you over and over, the retention level is 49%. So what happens to that other 51%? They leave. They don't come back to your mosque. They don't give to your mosque because they were not stewarded. They were not made feel important in your mission. So again, so remember that these are the 2 challenges we face. If I summarize that, Muslim charities, they only rely on fundraising mostly. I'm not generalizing. Most of the charities, they rely on the galas because that's where the largest amount of money they come at in one night, for sure. But if you look at year over year, in special events, the increase in getting increase of dollars will always be plateaued or slightly high increase. Unless sometime it will also drop. But for this is a challenge with the Muslim charities, whereas the mosques, although they do face to face, unfortunately they also rely on special speakers to come and do. Imams like us. I go to mosque. I get invited to mosque to go and do fundraising. And when I go there too, I said, my duty is now just one day. It's done. But you have to continue to steward the donor, connect the donor, talk to them, send them letters, keep in touch with them. But unfortunately, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen because next year when I get invited, I go there, I know for sure these donors are again, they're coming like first time they're going to see me, second year they're going to see me, that's it. So if that stewardship happens continuously, they don't need to invite an imam, specialized imam to come and do the fundraising. Donors will definitely, they are connected to the mission. They're not connected to me. So that is one of the things which you have to keep in my mind. And then 6, 7, and 8 are in personal phone telemarketing, that we don't give to telemarketing and door-to-door and advertising. Still, they also generate revenue. Okay, I'm going to do an exercise. I'm going to show you 2 diagrams. First diagram is now diagram number 1. This diagram says that donors, 10% of the donors give 60% of the donation to any organization. This is one segment of donors. Some charities have this kind of diagram. They can show that 10% of our donors, large donors, major givers, major gift donors give 60% of our revenue. 20% of mid-level donors give 20% of the donation. Whereas 70%, the base only gives about 20%. These are the low-level donors who give $100 or $10 to $100 or less. That under $250, $200, depending on the organization. The large donors are usually above $5,000 or $10,000. In some large hospitals, it's even $100,000, $500,000, $500,000, $1 million. It depends on the clubs they use. So this is one, remember this one. This is one diagram. And the second diagram is based on a study done in US. about the Muslim charities. There they found only 5% of the donors give 70% of their donation, and 20% still give 20%. The mid-level donors is almost consistent, and 75% of them only gives 10%. Remember that? Again, I'm going to show you the slides again. Diagram 1, 10, 20, 70, and it goes 60, 20, 10, 20. And then the second diagram 2 is 5% gives 5, 20, 25, 75, and the donation level is 70, 20, 10. Now, Sister Nargis, if you can start the poll number 2 is asking which diagram is true for your organization. Sister Nargis?
Did you see it?
Not yet.
It's been launched.
Okay. So Nargis, we'll give another 1 minute and then close the poll.
Okay, so nobody's really answering. I'm just wondering why they're not seeing the poll. I don't see the option to poll. It should be there. It's telling me that you have.
Can you ask from the participants chat, asking that they can see that?
Yeah, they're saying that they don't see it, but it's there. Let me reshare it. I'm going to end.
Yeah.
If you guys need to switch your screens really quickly. Relaunch.
Oh, yeah, I can see that now.
Okay, great.
Again, if you want to see the diagrams again.
Yeah, I think they might want to see them. So
yeah, diagram 1 is 10. You can forget about the middle one. Middle and 2020 remains the same. So 10% gives 60% and 70% gives 20%. And then diagram 2 is 5% gives 70% and then 75% gives 10%.
I think I'll end the poll because nobody else is increasing.
Sure.
Just going to check. Is everybody done? Just want to make sure. Okay.
Wow. Okay, diagram 1, which is the which says 36% says diagram 1. That's great. And diagram 2 is 30%. And neither is 3%. And I don't know the breakdown 30%. Wow. So 36 is diagram 1, 30%. And then the diagram 2, and I don't know the breakdown. Okay, so that 30% of you are saying that you don't know the breakdown. So if you're a fundraiser, if you're anyway connected to fundraising, the data, you should be able to see these numbers. You should be at least see the, even without giving the financial individual totals, at least if you'll be able to see that how much of the breakdown is that, so that based on that, you can develop your strategies, you can customize your strategies. Okay, that's good. Jazakallah khairan once again for your time. And let's go to the next slide, last few slides. I know that I'm already taken 45 minutes. Okay, this is interesting. You see, with all what's happening in COVID-19, the top 5%, I'm going with the diagram 2, by the way, not 1. I could go back again if you like to. So just an example, the top 5 or 10% of the people are quite affected by what's happening around us. They are the businessmen, they are the entrepreneurs, they are most of the time, they are sometimes doctors too. Right? All the professionals fall into that 5%. And they are highly, highly affected. So if you're expecting money from that people, then remember that you have to have a complete different strategy. And the strategy could be that you're not going to ask them this year. At the same time, if you look at the 75%, the baseline, they are somewhat affected. These are the people who are doing day jobs or sometimes, precarious jobs. They're somewhat affected, but still they are philanthropic. They are the people who have been supporting your organization if given the right ask. And the middle part are the unaffected people. They are the people who already have a job. They are going to work, either working from home or going to a job and working. They're continuing to work and they're going to continue to get paid. They are not going to change their donation level just because of what's happening. So this 20% will be your primary target. How you're going to steward them, how you're going to ask from them is the most important, your most important donor group. So 20% of the people who are unaffected. And then you have to have a different strategy for the 75% of the people somewhat affected. Sometimes remember that the 75% of people's donation will match that 20% people's donation too. So except the 5%, you have to have a complete different strategy to approach them, because this is not the time. If you think that is not the time to ask them, yes, that is the strategy. That is the best way to go about it, because the relationship you have with the donors is as much as important than getting the money now. So last slide, there are some positive steps to take. Number 1 is showing empathy. Why do I say that is the first one? Because many of the time I hear, when I receive calls from people saying that we need to find, can you tell us what can we do? I see there's an urgency, there's a desperation. I hear this. So in that desperation, in that urgency, they are trying to hurt the donor. The donors is for your life. They are going to be with your mission for the entire life of the organization. But when in desperation, when we ask, we make a lot of mistakes. We don't understand the donor's need and how the donor is responding, and what is the best way to respond, who is the best person who the donor is going to talk to. None of these will be available when you're going to talk about, if you don't show empathy. At least take the time to understand what they're going through and ask them what they're going through now. How this COVID-19 lockdown or social isolation has affected them. This is the time to show humanity. This is the time to show we care for them, because you are finding solution to many issues. So why not the issue the donor is facing? And also your need versus theirs are completely different. People don't give just because we say, okay, I'm going to close down my masjid because I'm not going to I can't keep it open in Ramadan, so I'm going to close down that masjid. People don't give for that. Some may, but people don't necessarily give for that need. If you go on, oh, my charity is going to cut down half, suspend all lay down half of 50% of our employees. Can you give? Can you give? They're not going to give. It is not the right way to ask. So their need versus your needs are completely different. You have to understand their need at this point. If that's true, during the economic recession of 2008, many organizations wouldn't have been closed because they sent out please after please and after please. Yesterday, I received a WhatsApp message saying somebody started and saying, oh, our massages are closed and they cannot raise money. Why don't you donate? And suddenly this person, uh, suddenly this person started to send out this WhatsApp message, and every other organization, massages, started to put their online link to donate. I really wonder how much of people are going to donate like that, because that's the desperation. We are going to show the desperation. It's, people don't give for that kind of need. People give for their own need. What is aligning with them? How we are aligning with our cause with theirs. And second is the increasing communication. So you have to now, this is the time to increase the communication with the donors, to show them. And third one is that emphasizing the mission relevance. Are you still relevant? Is the service you're providing, the psychological, spiritual service you're providing as a mosque, is still relevant to the community? You have to highlight that. Is the relevance, is the solution or the service you provide as a social service agency still relevant to the community? Is the solution you are providing to people with disabilities, people with immigrants, are still relevant to the community? So you have to connect that in this COVID-19 world. You have to still see what is the relevance of me being in existence. There should be an existence. There should be a reason for you to exist. That's what you have to highlight. And then, of course, you have to have a Ramadan fundraising plan. You have to develop a Ramadan fundraising plan. And then segment the donor data. As I said earlier, you have to look into, you can't say that I don't know the breakdown of the data. We have to find who the donors are, how I'm going to communicate with them, how I'm going to solicit them, how I'm going to cultivate them. And then identifying internal champions. This is the time to look at our internal database, staff, or previous staff, former staff, our board members, their connections, networks. These are the people, internal champions. They are going to push through your mosque and your charity at this time. We need their support. And number 7 is innovate, adapt, and thrive. Innovate and adapt and thrive, because after COVID-19, you're not going to be in the same world where you were before COVID-19. Pre and post COVID-19 is going to be different. Unless you change your strategies, you are going to drown. And finally, this is something which I noted ever since the COVID-19, the pandemic started. Many organizations, alhamdulillah, Muslim organizations are in the forefront of going online. They have the technology, they know the know-how, they have the capability, they have the capacity, they have the volunteers who are IT specialists. They quickly put together some great webinars, just like Sound Vision is doing. But many organizations, even including in my community, there are many masajid, they don't have the capability, they don't have the capacity. What they can do is that they can collaborate with these early adopters. Just like the Canadian Muslim Response Network came through, with 20 plus organizations. Even for fundraising, this is the time you can say that, yeah, why don't we all get together and do a webinar, and then inshallah we can send out an appeal. And then we can figure out a way how we are going to divide the fundraising dollars coming to us. So this is important. If an organization is already in the forefront, think about the other organizations who don't have the capacity. This is time to show you care about everybody, not only about our organization, not only about our mosque, about everybody, because as a community, we have to preserve the ecosystem. There's no point in there are 5 masajid, only one masjid stays strong after COVID-19, 4 of them have gone down. It's not going to help the community. There is a great need for organizations and the Muslims. So we have already built that. Alhamdulillah, our predecessors have built, and even our contemporaries have built this. So we have to keep this afloat for us to move as a community to the future in our country. Okay, so Sister Nargis is going to talk in detail. So what we are going to do is, since I spoke about all these things, we are going to go, inshallah, in-depth training, even in-depth training before Ramadan. And these are my colleagues who have, alhamdulillah, agreed to come and do the training for yourself, to all of you, inshallah, for the Muslim community, because we have to understand what's happening in the professional side and what's happening in the Muslim community. So alhamdulillah, they are the professionals, they are experts in what is happening on the other side. So we can learn from them. So one of the major things which we can learn is about the major gifts. What is major gifts? I see that many Muslim organizations don't have a major gift strategy. And the second one is communication. What is the message we are going to send out to these people? Is that, oh, I am in a rush, I'm going to die, can you please send me, my masjid is going to close? This is not the messaging, right? And then again, the stewardship, which inshallah I'm going to do. The stewardship is what is the donor cycle? There are 5 steps. But in the 5-step, why stewardship is the most important, crucial step in the donor cycle. And then sustainable giving piece. What is sustainable giving? Why is that some massages have to close? Why there's no reserve fund? What happened? So all these things we are going to talk about that. And interesting, alhamdulillah, I'm so happy that 2 of my best colleagues have come to join you and share what's happening in their faith community. Because just like the mosques are closed, the churches are closed, the synagogues are closed. Alhamdulillah, Lori and Anne, they both have agreed to come and do a session on what their churches are doing, how they're innovating, how they're keeping, how they're not letting people go, because they know that their pastors and the priests and the rabbis are important at this time. This is the time their importance is crucial to the community to give the guidance and support and leadership. So inshallah, all these 5 sessions are going to happen in April. We have targeted the Saturdays and Sundays so that before we go into Ramadan in 24th, hopefully, and we would have covered everything, and you will have some great tools and resources to develop a greater strategy, inshallah, in Ramadan, whether the massages are going to open or not. Even if it's open, you have to adapt because we don't know what's going to come in the future. Okay, Jazakallah khairan, and thank you so much for your time. And Sister Nargis, over to you.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum. I think you're going to have to stop sharing your screen, Imam Irshad. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. All right, so alhamdulillah, I hope everybody learned really well. Thank you so much, Imam Irshad, for this wonderful presentation. And I do hope that it answered a lot of your questions, but of course that is not enough. So as Imam Irshad mentioned, we have developed a 5-part fundraising training course, which is coming up. So I am going to post something right here. If you have any questions, please do type them up in the chat box, and we can ask them. I got a few of them. Imam Irshad, so one of the questions is that the data of within the faith community and outside the faith community is not adding up. Would you be able to quickly go over that data? And while he's doing that, I'm going to copy paste the link that you can go to that we're doing the training today. We're going almost 70% off for people today for the 5 weeks. Very good price, inshallah. Trying to make it very, very affordable. But tomorrow the price will go up to the regular price of 75. So, okay, so Imam Irshad, the data that they're talking, you're still muted. I think you don't, you're muted, Imam Irshad. Yes.
Okay. Okay, Jazakallah khairan for that question. Actually, this is from ISPU. They do the kind of a self-survey. This is not data collected from donations. They send out a survey to all the Muslim community. So based on that they did, it's not adding up to 100%. If you can go to that, I can send you the link to the American Muslim Philanthropy. You can also find out. And they have given a clear justification on why it's not adding up and how they collected data and how they aggregated the data and all. So this is just one screenshot from there. There are many things. You can see the executive summary. They're explaining that well.
Okay, so we have some people asking, would we be getting a certificate for the upcoming training? Now, from our side at Sound Vision, we can mail you the certificate for sure. We do provide certificates in our in-person trainings, and we were going to do that once the part was presented by Imam Irshad, but now, inshallah, we will send you an email about that, how it's going to be done. If you do need one, then you will definitely get it. Imam Irshad, people want to know if you can provide this PowerPoint presentation to them if they give the email address.
Sure, I will. Yeah, sure, I will. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to send you all the email addresses that I have.
Yeah.
People, if you want this PowerPoint presentation, you can just type up under the Q&A box your email addresses, and I'm just noting them down, and I will send you his PowerPoint presentation, inshallah. We have a question. Can there be a group discount for the event? Now, the event is a 5-part interactive training with 5 different trainers. Ideally, in person, it would have been a lot more. Of course, online, the training cost is $250. Today, if you sign up, it's $50. So we cannot really bring it down. We will not be able to break even if we bring it any further down from $50. Tomorrow it's going to go back up to $75, which is still a 70% discount, just because we realize the need right now. We realize how everybody's struggling, and we really want to provide this crucial training. In the future, inshallah, when things calm down, it will go back up to 250 online and a lot more in person. It is a 5-part training. So please no, not $50 for each session. It's $50 for all 5 weeks.
All 5, yes. Yeah.
Yes, I just wanted to clarify that. So
can I add something? I think, alhamdulillah, the reason why I joined, I agreed to do this workshop with Foundation is that it is the community spirit they bring in. So I know as a fundraiser, when I go to other training outside the fundraising Muslim world, it's like for every single session you are looking at about $400 to $500. So Sister Nargis, since yesterday night, has been reducing the amount and then come down to $50 for all sessions. Just $10 for one session. It's unbelievable. So alhamdulillah, the good news is that even some of the people who I reached out to, these are like trainers, master trainers. The moment I said that this is what the Muslim community is needing your support, and they all said that we are not going to charge, we are not going to mention the amount what we want. They said whatever the amount you can give, we will agree, we'll come and do this. So alhamdulillah, so you see, and these are the people who are putting their time together, and then if you can sign up, that'll be great.
Now somebody's asking if we need this training urgently, can we have it 5 consecutive days? So
the only thing is that our presenters are not available on weekdays, right? They all are working. That's why we selected the weekends.
Yes. It will be interactive. It will be not like a webinar. You will be able to talk.
Yeah.
You will be able to get into group sessions. You will be able to do exercises, and each day, so as to keep your attention right there, it is going to be 2 hours. That's why we had to break it up. We could have done it Saturday and Sunday, 5 hours each, but really sitting on your computer, I'm pretty sure the attention span wouldn't have been there. And that's why we're trying to jam up every weekend, inshallah. 2 sessions a day, 2 sessions a day. I think at this point, I'm not sure if that's possible. If we will talk to our trainers, if we can do a side-by-side session where you can do this, and maybe, I don't know, like Imam Irshad, what do you think? Is it even possible to get this done? And
I think because you see, when we did the presentation workshop in February, we actually covered 3 different topics, the full day session. Still, in the end, the feedback after post-workshop feedback we received, everybody said that it was too much information, we were rushing through. So they wanted to go in depth on each topic. Because again, this is very new. Some of these topics are very new to the Muslim community. So I think it's better if you can take time to learn much in depth way, and then inshallah to practice this, implement it. I think that's better.
For sure. Yes, so somebody's agreeing with that it is better to spread it out in 5 events, just to be able to absorb it and then apply it as well. And it gives you that whole week to be able to say, all right, talk to my organization. This is what we're going to plan to do based on what I just learned. Let's learn the next step and we'll apply that. It's really, really well paced out, I think. And alhamdulillah, we're able to finish it before Ramadan as well. And it gives you the 5 weeks to plan, or the 2.5 weeks or 3 weeks to plan.
People asking some question, how can we sign up, right?
So I did put here we go. There's the link again. I'm putting it up there. You could go there today. As I mentioned, the price just for everybody who's on this call and whoever signs up or whoever's watching on Facebook, it is $50 for all 5 weeks. And tomorrow it is going to go up to $75, which is still quite a good price for 5 weeks. I'm engaging 5 professional fundraising trainers, inshallah. Any other questions?
And are there any materials that will be available with the course? Yes, inshallah. I mean, just like I'm going to share my presentation, and all the presenters will share their presentation as well with you. And we all, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, and also, I mean, we will give some resources. Last time in the after workshop too, many people asked for the links and the data and the resource and the research. And Alhamdulillah, we sent, Sister Nargis can remember that we sent an email with all the information they need. Some people came and asked that what is the best fundraising book for them to refer and to start. And for that too, we gave some quick recommendations. So all these materials are available. And so inshallah, we'll share whatever we are going to share in that presentation. You'll get all the resources and the links.
And if you have any other questions, if you don't know what is expected, if we decide to send you some resources beforehand to have a printout ready, PDFs or whatnot, please send your questions to trainings@soundvision.com. It's trainings plural @soundvision.com.
Do we have a list of trainers who will conduct the training? Yes, we already shared that flyer. Yeah.
It's on the link that I had just shared.
Yeah, this is the link. And if you can go to that link, you'll see all the presenters' name. You can also look them up on LinkedIn. These people are already known in the fundraising world.
Okay, so it is 1 o'clock now. All right, what if we can't have a live session for some reason? Can you elaborate on that? What do you mean by live session? We will do the live session in terms of attend the webinar. Okay, what if you're not able to attend the training? So you want to know if you get a discount or not? Or like a refund? Is that what
recording, right?
Yeah, we'll record it, inshallah, and we can send that to you. Interactive training, of course, is great because you can ask your questions, you can get into the exercises, they'll put you in different rooms that they can put you in with your groups, whatever that they decide to do. But of course, you could get the recording. You can send me an email at trainings@soundvision.com if you have any concerns that I'm not able to attend, and we can see what we can do, inshallah. All right, thank you so much everyone for this wonderful webinar. Inshallah, I hope it really benefits the community. And we're just going to take a moment. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wal asr inna al-insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati wa tawasaw bil haqq wa tawasaw bis sabr. All right, may Allah Ta'ala guide us, and we will see you inshallah at the trainings coming up next week.
Jazakallah khairan everyone. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum.